Having trouble with navel orangeworm in the orchard? Sidetrack Now Miso Mating Disruption is your best bet to minimize loss and maximize profitability. Used with Tresse's new multi-gender lures for your monitoring program, you can achieve the quality yields you deserve. Contact your local sales rep today. Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you from the annual conference of American Pistachio Growers in Carlsbad, California. Even though we're pretty far from some of our pistachio producing areas, we drew a record crowd this year, do we not? I'm here with Richard Matoian, president of APG, to talk about that.
Yeah, we had about 1,200 people pre-registered, and I think we ended up with over 200 people that showed up in person to register here, so an additional 200. So this is definitely our biggest annual conference on record. So really happy with the numbers, a little bit surprising too. But certainly coming off of COVID, I think everyone is ready to get back into in-person events. And just I can tell you that there's such an enthusiasm and happiness that seemed to be filling the rooms for the different social events that we had, being back in person.
For sure, and I think it's a great reflection, the attendance and the excitement is a great reflection of the excitement that's in the pistachio industry and the growth of the industry that we've experienced in the last 5 years, and we're likely to, as we have so much acreage that's not even in production yet. So can you tell us a little bit about where we are as an industry? We've just experienced the largest crop ever this past season, and it was considered an off year.
Right.
So we're who knows what this year's going to bring, but it's going to be big regardless.
Yeah, in my State of the Industry, I talked about the 2020 crop being our largest crop on record, and yet in 2021, which was supposed to be an off year, we hit another record crop. And so the question is, well, what kind of crop do we expect to see this year coming off this huge crop that we had in 2021? And the one thing that I said, and worth repeating, is we'll know in October because it's really going to take that long to know what the crop is going to be and what's actually going to be harvested off the trees. And as we've talked before in the past with pistachios, you can have what looks to be a very large crop, but the number of blanks or the size of the nuts can greatly influence what that final number is. In addition to that, I talked about the number of bearing acres, and we're going from 446,000 bearing acres in 2022 to about 523,000 bearing acres in 2026. So we have this rapid rise of bearing acres. And on top of that, growers from 2012 to 2016 had been planting on average about 34,000 acres, and that dropped slightly down in the last few years. But in 2021, they planted almost 35,000 bearing acres just in this most recent year alone. So it seems like the pace of pistachio planting has picked back up. So that just means we have that much more that we're going to have produced, and so much more we're going to need to make sure and effectively market.
Right. So with that expected production going to be increasing along with the acreage, that's tremendous. And we've got some great export markets and some work that APG is valiantly performing, and really appreciate that. But I wanted to know, how are shipments keeping up to date and expected to increase along with that in the future?
Yeah, with our crop that was produced in 21 and our crop year that starts basically September 1 of 2021 through the most recent month of statistics that we have, which is through January, and that's 5 months worth of shipments. We are up in every market except for one, which is Europe. So we're up in Asia, we're up in China, we're up in the United States, we're up in India, we're up in the Middle East as well. So there's some really encouraging numbers. The numbers alone just for India compared to last year is that we're up 77%. So really positive numbers. We hope the down market that we're currently in the EU is more of a short-term situation that will correct itself. We do have very good customers in Europe that we expect to come back into the marketplace. But certainly with these large crops that are coming, we believe that we're going to need to go even deeper and market even more heavily in our existing markets, as well as finding new market opportunities to go into to take up this increased production that we have.
Thank you, Richard. It was certainly been an awesome conference, and the future looks bright ahead. It was great to hear from astronaut Scott Kelly as your keynote speaker at this event. It was amazing, and just like he said, sky's not the limit, and it's not the limit for the pistachio industry either. So we haven't reached that, and as APG and other growers and processors are working dedicated to increase that market into the future looks bright ahead. So thank you so much. Read more about these things in Pacific Nut Producer Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.